What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again for another video. Today is going to be discussing a trade that might make sense for the Toronto Maple Leafs and even the Arizona Coyotes. Now, I know that I'm a Leaf fan. You guys, a lot of you guys know that. But I do understand that there's two sides to every trade, and just because you're a fan of a team doesn't mean that just because you think of a trade, it should work out and it's gonna work, because a lot of people do think like that. I just think that this move that I'm proposing, and a lot of other people have proposed, could be a good thing for both sides. Now, there could be pieces that go back and forth into this trade that could, be different. There could be two or three different options, but I want to get into the video and talk about why the Toronto Maple Leafs, if they were to move on from Freddie Andersen, could acquire a better goaltender and pay less money for him against the cap. And that's what the Maple Leafs are looking to do. So, yeah, let's check it out. So, anyways, Darcy Kuemper is the goalie that I'm talking about. You guys can probably already see the name, and it's probably in the thumbnail. But Darcy Kuemper, his raise kicks in next season. At which point the Arizona Coyotes goaltender's AAV raises from $1.85 million to $4.5, and Freddie Andersen's is $5 million. So the Leafs would essentially be saving $500,000 if they acquired him. Now, this is a piece from 31 Thoughts, I believe. So I prepared this about a week ago. I just never got to it. So it says here, I get that the new ownership is on tilt. The Coyotes are facing a financial crunch and must consider moving some desirable assets to recoup the draft picks lost by running their own illegal mini combine, which, by the way, if you guys haven't seen, the Coyotes were fined some money, and they were also forced to lose their first round draft pick for this year and next year. So the Leafs have some assets. Other team have assets too. This could work for your team, your favorite team as well. But the Maple Leafs, I think, have some assets that Arizona would be interested in. Now, but if the new regime is concerned about wise spending, the late blooming Kuemper is still an incredible deal. And that's the thing. $4.5 million for your starting goaltender, incredible. But I did have a little bit of work that I put into this video a little bit later to show you guys why this could work. So again, this would be a great deal. They could do it. Once Markstrom, Leonard, and Braden Holtby get paid, Kuemper will likely be the 20th highest paid goalie in the NHL next season, which he's played pretty well, so he deserves to be paid a little bit more. But that contract's already signed. Not too shabby for a guy coming off back-to-back .925 plus campaigns, which is obviously incredible. That save percentage is nice. The team's regular season and playoff MVP, and a guy named to the first All-Star game, to his first All-Star game. He's just incredible. So, yeah, you're definitely calling. And this point at the end could ruin the whole video, but, I mean, this is just a hypothetical trade talk. If you're Arizona, trading Kuemper would obviously be a horrible idea, but it depends on what you get back, in my opinion. So, this is his stats. Like I said, look at those numbers from last year. 29 games played. Not a huge sample size, but still, the year before that was great as well. .928 save percentage, 2.22 goals against average. That year before, like I said, big sample size, 55 games, .925 save percentage, 2.33 goals against average. So very good numbers. Late bloomer, but he's a very solid goaltender. Again, people are going to say, oh, he's good because the Leafs defense is crap and, Freddie Andersen is so good. Listen, guys, this isn't a video of me crapping on Freddie Andersen and saying that the Leafs blue line doesn't need work. The whole point is that you upgrade the goaltender and you upgrade the blue line as well. This won't work this season if the Leafs don't upgrade their blue line as well. That's all I'm saying. And while the Leafs have a pretty crappy defense core, Freddie Andersen had his fair share of really bad games this year, and I'm not just going to point blame at the defense if a floater from the blue line goes in and he could see it all the way. Sorry, the blue line isn't to blame all the time. The team isn't to blame all the time. Sometimes a goaltender has to take some blame, okay? So anyways, those are good numbers there. Comparing it to Freddie Andersen, his last two seasons, it's a huge upgrade. If the Leafs get better goaltending in the middle of the season this year, if they get a .915 or a .917 goaltender, they're looking way better, like Freddie did the last year. He played in 60 games. But the thing is the goals against average, the save percentage, Kuemper still has better numbers, and he comes in at a cheaper cap hit. And he signed a little bit longer than Freddie, and that's something that the Leafs need to keep in mind going forward with their cap crunch as well. So those are the numbers comparing them. Now, this is where I wanted to make this trade make more sense for people. So again, the trade could be Kuemper for Freddie. Sure, you could make that deal. You know, at least Arizona still has a good starting goaltender. But this is where it makes sense. This is his AAV, $4.5 million. So that's what Kuemper's number is on the cap for this coming season and the one after that. But his base salary this year is $3.5 million. Then it goes up to $5.5 million. Arizona is a team that's working with an internal cap. They're spending, you can spend to the cap, but whether or not the owners want them to spend too much money because of what's going on in the world right now, that money is the real money they're paying him every year. They might not want to spend that much money. They might want to cut back as much money as possible and regain as much assets as possible by trading Kuemper. So you could make the trade for Freddie, and the reason why I'm saying that is because Freddie Anderson has one more year left in his deal, and that pays him $1 million. One. So his cap hit is 5, but the Maple Leafs have paid out so much of his contract that only $1 million is owed. So essentially, they would be saving $2.5 million, and then the following season, they'd be saving like $4 million. Except Freddie Anderson wouldn't be in their crease because he's going to be a free agent, and then they can make up their mind what they want to do. They have other goaltenders in their system that they could trade as well, or that they could put up there and play instead of a Freddie Anderson. They have a good goaltending system in Arizona. They have some goaltenders. So it makes sense for them real money-wise. Now, the other thing I need to get to, like I said, is they do not have to make this trade, Freddie Anderson for Kuemper, and the Leafs throw in some assets to attach to a trade. They don't have to do that. They can make this trade straight up where the Leafs just acquire Kuemper and then trade Freddie in another deal. Because what does it take to get Kuemper? I don't know. Maybe there's another option that I have here. This is a hypothetical. Marian Hossa cost the Arizona Coyotes $5.275 million for this upcoming season. Could the Maple Leafs acquire Hossa in this trade and just put him on LTIR and just pay him out his money? I don't know. Could be part of a deal that saves Arizona $5.2 million that not only they can use on players for their, up to the cap, but internally they're saving that money from spending, they're saving from spending on a guy that's not playing. And Arizona can't afford to do that, whereas Toronto can do that. They've done it. They've thrown guys into Robidas Island a million times. Clarkson, Robidas, like you name it. They've done it with so many people. They don't really need to do this, but they can do it. They can. So that's part of a trade possibility. You got Kuemper and Hossa goes on LTIR. The Leafs send over, a good pick. Like maybe they toss them a second round pick. Maybe it's a future package of picks plus prospects. Maybe they toss in an Andreas Johnsson, so that way, obviously Johnsson is not a guy that can replace Taylor Hall's production, but if they can't afford a guy like Taylor Hall, they can afford an Andreas Johnsson who could score them 20, 25 goals. Then you toss in a decent prospect, maybe a good pick. There's ways for this trade to make sense for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and then you can trade Freddie and try to, get back those picks. You could easily get back a second for Freddie Anderson and a prospect from another team. Easily, you could get that. He's a good goaltender still, but he's only owed $1 million, which is very key to teams that are cutting costs. That is something that is going to make people understand like how crazy what's going on right now is because teams literally have the salary cap, but they have their internal cap that they're allowed to spend to. Their owners and everybody says, this is the money you have. I don't care what the salary cap is. We are losing money. This is all you can spend up to. Whereas the Leafs can go, we can spend up to the cap. We can use LTIR. We have all the money we need. And again, that could sound cocky. That could sound rude, whatever. But guess what? They're not trying to make friends. Everybody hates the Leafs anyways. So they can do this stuff. They can spend as much money as they want. MLSE has been spending money like crazy. They just signed Nick Nurse with the Raptors. Masai Ujiri's going to get a contract. Webster's going to get a contract. Like everybody's getting contracts in MLSE. So the Maple Leafs are going to be preparing offers for Pietrangelo and all these other guys with huge signing bonuses. Sure, they're not going to get everybody. They might not get any of them. But the Leafs have the ability to do these things. And that's why they might have an advantage in terms of some of these trades. So, again, it's up to you guys to decide whether or not you think that this is a good idea. I, for one, think that the Leafs and Arizona Coyotes make sense as trading partners. You can upgrade your goaltender while spending less money on the cap. You take that extra 500K and you toss that to the end of a contract that you need. Maybe that extra 200 or 300 grand that you need to sign a defenseman, or maybe that extra 100K that you need to entice a bottom six forward to come in. Maybe their deal was at 900K, they want $1 million, so you give them that extra $100,000 that you save. There's options, and I think that this makes sense. And I ask you guys, you can see it on the screen, does this make sense? Do you believe that this is a deal the Toronto Maple Leafs could make? I, in fact, think it is. You upgrade in goal, you save money, you can put it in other places. And a team like Arizona, you could give them assets that they need. You can help them save a bit of money. There's a bunch of different possibilities, and I'm sure other teams are looking at this as well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you are new, make sure to subscribe. Sorry guys, I'm all over the place, but make sure to subscribe if you're new. I appreciate you guys as always, and let me know what you think down below. Hopefully I'll see you in the next video or stream. Peace.